Alright, so we should be live right now. Should be live.
Oh, that's looking
All right,
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
perfect.
like we're
Okay.
coming
That's
back
good.
on. There we go. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Sorry about that. On the upside, for once, the tech issues aren't the fault of streamers. Like, it's nobody here having their computer fail, but we are dealing with some stability issues. It's on Discord's end, I believe Erica said it was. They're dealing with some hacker shenanigans today, so it's just scheduling on our part. So we're gonna backtrack. Quick recap. Kingsguard Knight Sir Marin Trant, who is kind of a sexist douchebag, even by Westerosi standards. He got whooped by Lady Baela the Badass in the joust the other day, and he is giving Baela dirty looks from his station across the room. Baela is responding with a jaunty little toast and an easy clap in order to just very sarcastically salute him as he is standing guard dog far away from all the food. She's like, "Oh, this wine is so tasty, like your sexist tears." And it goes really good with this salad that is the fourth course of this feast you're not getting. So she is kind of, snarking right back at him. Maya Stone kind of took a second to kind of grok what was going on. Miranda Royce was overjoyed, and she was like, "Oh, Baela, you're so naughty for." I think what was it? You don't have to be mean to the boys after you beat them at their own game. Oh, but it's just adorable that you do. So Miranda is clearly loving it. It's not often she gets to see the kind of chivalrous, sexist code stuff get flipped on its head like this, and she seems to be enjoying it.
Yeah, I hear he has quite the reputation amongst the ladies here in King's Landing.
Oh, she looks very kind of faux innocent. But I thought the Kingsguard were sworn to father no children.
I thought so too, but it seems some don't take too seriously to that order. Plus, I hear it's not just fathering the children. I hear he's rather cruel to the women as well.
Well, that is no fun unless you ask for it very nicely first.
Indeed.
That's not very chivalrous of him. I mean, there are ways to keep from fathering children, but she sighs a little melodramatically. Clearly, they don't always happen. Maya is pointedly very quiet during that exchange, rather than letting it. And she's still very red, but you don't know if it's just holdover blushing from the prior conversation. But yeah, Miranda seems to be just having a great time violating social norms by talking shit about a knight of the Kingsguard that got beat up by a girl.
Yeah.
Any comment from Reyna? You're right there, and probably easy to notice the scorn roiling off of Marin Trant like Superman's heat vision. Only harmless.
I just give him just a smug little smirk. You know, the bitchy one.
Oh, I do. We've been married almost 14 years. So, all right. Again, not a lot to necessarily work with Marin Trant, but gives you some stuff to work with in the group, at least, as you are sitting at the table. And then I believe we had a 5. Which is Lord Peter Baelish, Master of Coin, and currently one of the
I swear
conversational.
I've not seen that list. I'm not.
one of the conversational dinner partners of young. Baelish has a pretty well-honed animosity radar, so we're actually going to riff off of Marin Trant's ugly look, and also as a member of the small council, he spends a lot of time around the Kingsguard compared to most Westerosi, so he might have heard them grouching in the meantime. So he makes a point of kind of politely leaning across the table, which is shorthand for like, oh, I'm about to gossip a little. Doesn't actually keep anybody from overhearing, but it's just kind of a signifier. He goes, I can't help but notice, young Adam, that the Wyvern's Rest contingent has done rather well for themselves against their hosts here in the Red Keep. A member of the King's Guard beaten by your ward, another member of the King's Guard beaten by your sister under the King's own watchful gaze, and then I seem to recall the King's own squire and that of my liege lord John Arryn being beaten by your rather robust young squire that you brought. Tell me, other members of the small council needn't be worried about you, should we?
Well, certainly not if you want to play some bets on us. But no. We're like any young up and comers. We are here to establish ourselves in friendship. It's friendly competition, surely.
He gives a pointed look over your shoulder towards the Tyrells, by your reckoning. He goes, you certainly seem to have established a few friendships and done rather well for yourself with the wagering too, I believe I overheard.
Well, Magister Illyrio has been most gracious in giving the odd tip in there.
I'm sure he has. Well, no doubt that's the reason for your recent interest in fiscal matters. With sums like that to suddenly worry about investing in, it's very responsible of you to increase your attentiveness to such matters. Though every copper piece is important, the more of them you're dealing with, the more you need to be aware of your options in investment.
Well, I want to do right by my house, so yes. I'm here to learn. But your advice has been very valuable.
How charmingly dutiful of you. And do note that flattery works famously well on members of the small council, should you interact with any of the rest of us.
Good to know. Good to know.
Lynn Corbray continues to be kind of cool guy, disinterested. He's not terribly close with his older brother, the lord of their house. You remember hearing that they had kind of a split because Lady Forlorn went to Lynn while the lordship went to his brother. Mm-hmm. Neither of them ended up happy about it. But thinking about Lynn and his brothers, you do also remember hearing that his younger brother died on the road on the way down here to King's Landing. That was why part of the Vale contingent was late, because the big group of them, the road washed out kind of in the middle of their caravan. So Corbray and them got here early. The rest of them had to backtrack and go a different route. But his brother died, and you can't help but notice he doesn't seem to be terribly bothered by it. He at least hasn't been emoting about it very much. He hasn't.
He's got two emotions that he emotes. And it's scorn and sexiness.
So just
the well-known emotion is sexiness.
Yeah, those are the two. That's his spectrum is from scorn to smolder. Is which we're at. But yeah, just
it's George R. R. Martin. I refuse to believe that there's literally nothing else to him. So but it's
Adam can fix him. He just needs a good man.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I can fix him.
You can sure enjoy try.
But yeah.
Like I said,
that is definitely not a thing that Adam is going to be really careful to not refer to that. When people are around, that would be a really bad idea.
Right.
Because I already came very close to just getting shanked in the face, like right at the start of that interaction.
Yeah, so just a reminder that it would seem on notions of familial duty and sibling care and affection for one another, he is just as disinterested as he is with talk of managing a realm, and it's just things don't seem to hold his attention with the conversation that is going on at present. So he's just sitting there looking sexy and not saying much. So
I guess like, I mean, he was paying close attention to Lord Baelish when Adam turned up at the table. So I guess a thing that Adam might do is kind of try and guide the conversation to the kind of stuff they were talking about and sort of see what happens. Kind of try and like get him onto things that like the three of us can actually participate in.
You get the feeling it was mostly Vale politicking, so you could try to dabble in that a bit, but it is going to be a little outside your bailiwick, as the Vale isn't somewhere you've been or paid super attention to. But
you know what, like Adam is interested in the world in general, and I guess can ask about like what things in the Vale are like.
Sure. So you're definitely able to still take part in the conversation, but there's a definite shift in who is steering it. I guess if that explanation makes it, you're not as active in like answering questions or building on answers that are given. It's definitely a little more of a kind of questioning thing. But and again, you get the idea that for Lynn Corbray, he's actually being fairly sociable with you. You know, he's not threatening to cut you extra and stuff like that. So
extra.
So like it's going pretty well.
So he's already going to cut me a little bit.
Just a normal amount, just the usual.
Like, so he's not going to like rip me in half.
I just want to mention that Raina has noticed that Adam's conversation has shifted to be more towards Baelish, and that I approve.
Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I noticed it, and I think it's a good.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like, I don't think Adam has enough kind of like control over his expression to not still be like giving that kind of look.
And that's fine.
Towards Lynn, like particularly when he speaks, because Adam finds him rather hypnotic. But like I mean, he is kind of trying to be a kind of deft conversationalist and is kind of growing in confidence at that, but especially because it's going quite well. But I mean, there's still going to be a kind of a look of interest anyway, like of I'm conscious that the conversation that we were having that was this particular mood was interrupted by this dude turning up. I'm not done with that other mood, by the way, but we can't talk about that right now.
So it's good to know that like Adam is very clearly still thirsty, but he also likes meat.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was like last session, like what Adam was kind of saying with the King's Peace, like kind of maintains us for now. So Lady Forlorn isn't going to taste Dornish blood for a little while yet. Was very much a veiled, like we can't be like overtly suggestive with each other, like at the moment because we're in the King's court, but with some patience there may be like a taste of some Dornish for you.
Swords might not be all that gets unsheathed if the night goes well.
No, like all the sword talk, as far as Adam is concerned, was euphemism.
All of it?
Not all of it. Yeah, just to be clear, Lynn Corbray being Lynn Corbray, it's not all euphemism.
But like quite a bit of it was very suggestive.
Yeah, no, like if Adam wants to tell himself that it was all euphemism, that's fine. But it was like a 70-30 split. There was a
No,
percentage of it that really was about stabbing you.
No, and I mean, like, certainly, like, earlier on, definitely just talking about swords, but it kind of started gravitating.
It very much
especially 'cause I,
did,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't quite filleting the sword hilt,
No.
but that was probably
Classic.
next. Yes, so there was definitely some suggestive stuff going on. But I just want to make it clear to everybody listening, Lynn Corbray is never 100% not talking about murder. He is a big fan of killing people with swords. So often it is about poking people with something else, but sometimes it's always a little bit about poking them also with a sword. Speaking, there's really no cool transition from that. So speaking of poking people, up at the king's table, while these salads are out, Luke, you are able to approach John Aaron, the hand of the king, and my assumption, like we're going to bounce this back a little bit to the Stannis number that came up recently. You do pointedly walk up on them while they're clearly kind of having a private discussion, in as much as discussions at this sort of dinner are private. But you see John Aaron's he's leaning over his armrest and talking, and then he goes, like, oh, like, just 1 second, Stannis, like, here comes someone, and it's not like a big shh. They're not gaudy about it, because it is the king's fucking brother and the hand of the king. So, like, they can talk about motherfuckers if they want to. Like, they don't have to actually feel bad for it. But it's not like a huge deal. But they pointedly stop their murmuring as you arrive. And John Aaron gives you a close-lipped smile, which you have spent enough time here in King's Landing, and specifically the Red Keep. You know that he's a little sensitive about opening his mouth. He has pretty famously bad teeth. So he's conscious of that and gives kind of fatherly smiles without showing them. But it seems like as pleasant and sincere a smile as he's given anyone. He's a pretty good dude. He was always, as you're squiring for anyone in the Red Keep, you're kind of squiring for everyone in the Red Keep, and he's always been, pretty cool with you, and he was there at your knighting ceremony. Didn't have to show up, but did, stuff like that. So, but yeah, he just kind of gives you a friendly look and raises an eyebrow, and young Sir Lucaris.
Lord Aaron, do you mind if I sit for a moment?
Oh, no, not at all, not at all.
Luke will sit down and begin to have the final kind of the core sets here, and then talk with him briefly, just kind of small talk for a few moments.
Yeah, and it's pleasant small talk. It's good to see you back in the Red Keep. We've missed you this week, though. Clearly, you've been busy with your family, and like Stannis, right next to him, has included himself in the conversation, and he's looking like right over your head towards Oris, and goes, and John Aaron's like, busy with your family, and Stannis is like, and some others, in that very Stannisian way.
I'm going to turn to him and
he talks, right? He's like, yes, and some others.
I'm going to turn to him and go, that reminds me, Lord Stannis, thank you for allowing my siblings to participate in the writing contest, despite not following the proper procedures.
He waves off your gratitude like he waves off every positive and negative emotion. And he just, it was only fair, given the way the Florents let chaos overwhelm the squiring tables. And given that your boy there wasn't able to handle things due to, phrase, I believe?
Some manner of nonsense like that, yes.
But, yes, it was no trouble to let her ride, and certainly no less unorthodox than letting her joust in the first place. John Aaron cuts in with, the Dornish customs are not our own, but we are 7 kingdoms, not 6. So it has been a rare pleasure to see your sister tilt, for most of us, at least. I believe not all in the Red Keep have shared in our enjoyment.
Not all in the Red Keep are appreciative of such strong women as we are in Dorne.
The Princess Marcella was quite thrilled to hear that your sister got as far as she did. Jousting tends to not hold her attention well, so she has sent her apologies rather than her attention to the most of her name day joust. But she was quite thrilled to hear that your sister did well.
I will pass it on to her. She would be happy to hear that. I do hope the princess is doing well.
Yes, her mother was feeling a bit unwell this evening. And again, given your passive awareness, you notice John Aaron, who's good at statecraft, his gaze just flicks over to Maya Stone when he says that Cersei was feeling unwell. He says, yes, her mother was feeling unwell this evening, and Marcella and the other children have gentle hearts, and they are keeping their mother in good spirits by keeping her company in her chambers.
Marcella and Tomlin have always seemed to be sweet children. I understand. Food, company, parties don't always agree with everybody. I'll give him kind of a knowing nod.
Stannis's gaze doesn't flick anywhere. Stannis being Stannis. If he picks up on the shade you're throwing at Joffrey, he doesn't mind. But he pointedly looks.
Oh, was I throwing shade?
Yeah. He pointedly looks from Oris over kind of your other shoulder to Maya Stone. He goes, yes, the queen and most of her kin seem to have retired early for the evening. But such things happen, I suppose. The Westerlands are emotional folk, I suppose. Some say spoiled compared to the sterner stuff of the Stormlands.
Well, you know us Dornish folk have a reputation for being passionate as well, so I don't fault them. Do you mind if we take a brief walk? I'm afraid I enjoyed a little too much of the wine from home, and I could use some air. I'd like to speak to you about a subject.
John Aaron quirks an eyebrow kind of curiously. He goes, sure, some night air before the fish arrives doesn't sound amiss. And he very kind of formally excuses himself from Lord Stannis on one side and from his lady wife on the other. Yeah, you are able to take you don't have to go all the way out into the gardens and stuff, because for our intents and purposes, the Red Keep is designed for politicking.
Right.
So you're able to go to like a small balcony overlooking the gardens, for a closer sort of talk. And he steers you there. That is the more, this is likely to not last very long, I hope, way to guide somebody to a private conversation instead of all the way out into the gardens. Do you want to continue that conversation now, or shall we move on to a break and then the conversation?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So we are cheerfully making our way through the courses of the feast. We are flirting and making friends and talking finances and maidenheads. But we are also going to take a quick break because we are just about the halfway point. So we will come back in about 10 minutes and we will see you all right here. Everybody go eat some food.
good now.
Yeah,
Hey,
if we-
everybody,
Oh, sorry.
and welcome back. I hope you had a break as productive as I did. I took the garbage out.
Hey.
But other people were probably a little bit more glamorous than that,
I petted 2 dogs.
right? And like we did stare at our dogs, but I didn't pet them.
I don't
'Cause-
have a dog.
Garbage. So we were leaving off with kind of the tail end of the salad course, which is a bright, refreshing spring and summer mix with a dashing citrus notes there at the end. And we were going to pick up with the fish course, but first, because it's also the first of the through and through warm courses that are meant to be larger and more filling, there is a little bit of extra time during the salad course for anticipation to build. So we're going to pick up as they were making their way over to the balcony to have Sir Lucaris and Hand of the King and Lord of the Vale, John Aaron, chat. We actually have a few late bringers to bring into the show with a bonus 24 that somebody tossed in. Some latecomers to the feast that were just waiting on a roll. Escorting him in is the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Sir Barristan Selmy, who is nominally off duty in that he doesn't have his helmet on. He is here as a guest at the feast, and there is an open chair for him at the royal table as a member of the small council, etc., etc. But Sir Barristan Selmy being Sir Barristan Selmy, he has never turned all the way off, so he was still clearly providing kind of a royal escort to a guest that was arriving late, and that is Lord Montford Velaryon, who is an early 50s silver fox, even if he wasn't of Targaryen blood, or at least Valyrian blood. He's got that pale silver hair. He is actually directly your uncle, each and every one of you that is here. His sister was your mother, Lena, who passed away just after Adam's birth. So you knew that he was in the joust, but you'd also heard throughout the week that he was just kind of distracted and his heart wasn't in it. And you had heard that he was speaking to the Maester's conclave. So, as Grand Maester Pycelle makes a big deal of standing up beneath his heavy chain and clearing his throat and announcing that Lord Montford Velaryon of Driftmark, Lord of the Tides, which is the honorific that goes with House Velaryon. As he arrives, you can't help but notice the young acolyte, Alaras, kind of serving as the hands of Grand Maester Pycelle, because Grand Maester Pycelle is eating. He immediately approaches Lord Montford with a kind of sad shake of his head, is the vibe you get, kind of an apologetic look, and holds his hands out in a little, like, I don't have anything for you. So it sounds like maybe he was waiting on a raven somewhere. You do also recall that his son, Monteris, is the heir to Driftmark, who's about 6 or 7, and has ever been a sickly youth. None of you have ever met him. Even you up here in King's Landing, Luke, Monteris has not left Driftmark. He has never been well enough to travel. So it sounds like maybe Lord Montford's been worrying, waiting on news from home, both, that sort of thing. But your Uncle Montford does get announced, etc., etc. As a quick aside on the topic of your sickly, frail cousin, Luke, you would know this. You are next in line for Driftmark, by the way, because you are the next nearest male relative. So because it's Driftmark specifically, it when it backtracks to your mother and they start down a new branch, the ownership of Driftmark does bypass Reyna and Bela because it is specifically not Dornish territory. But yeah, so in your more selfish moments, you may not have always thought your young cousin well. Perhaps in the dark of night as the third son or their third child, there are times that you might have wished for your uncle's concerns to be laid to rest, etc., etc., etc. Maybe it's on you. In your
there are
shittier
moments when
moods.
those thoughts would have been there, of course.
But yeah, you've got one more.
Were you breaking it?
Yeah, I assumed poor.
There was
You're
a
being
argument
haunted.
going on outside, and apparently it ended poorly for someone.
Oh,
That was a door.
yikes.
Well, better a door than like a gunshot or something.
Yes.
So hopefully all's well, and you don't need to run AFK or anything.
I hope so.
I just assumed it was a porg trying to escape.
Oh,
How dare you?
So we do have a fresh arrival, or rather two, from that number 20. Excuse me for the coughing. So Lord Montfort Valerian has arrived, as has Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
This
Lord
is definitely going to
Barristan.
throw Luke off his game as he's approaching to talk to Lord Aaron.
Well, and this is after the approach. This is as you guys are making your way to the balcony.
Okay.
So it's your call. If you want to steer away to go greet your uncle, that would be probably a mistake right this second.
Yeah, I'm gonna
because you got
do
the
it.
hand of the, so yeah.
Yeah. Don't waste the shot.
You're at the point of stay committed to the hand of the king because you've got his attention, but a wave or something wouldn't be untoward. But yeah.
Okay, Robert, I can be on it if it helps.
So
yeah, I definitely want to talk to him, but you got to deal with this first.
Definitely.
One of your siblings can sort of grab him.
You stay away from my island.
So
Well, that's just. I was just assuming I was going to get the Danit lands once I convinced the king to give it to us.
I'm working on that. Be cool.
Be cool. Be cool.
Be cool. Be cool. Be cool. Adam is not capable of being cool.
Fair.
on the quick topic of being cool, and then we're gonna go to the balcony. Adam, you notice with your very high passive awareness and the way it's always not so passive on Oris, Oris's eyes kind of follow Barristan Selmy when he enters, and Oris kind of straightens up a little and like maybe tries to look knightly or clean cut or adult or whatever. For all that he has shown nothing but scorn for the other members of the Kingsguard that the house has interacted with, he seems to just kind of straighten up and try to look knightly around Barristan Selmy, Lord Barristan the Bold, the living legend, yada, yada, yada. Just a small thing to notice. Yeah, like it's kind of hard not to. Like nobody wants to let Grandpa Barristan down.
No.
But it is something that you notice with a lot of other people that Oris seems to not care about impressing or not. You can tell that he kind of tracks Sir Barristan's progress through the room and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So just
That's
a
helpful to know.
note. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. So on the balcony, you have the initiative. This was your idea. So what do we got going on, Luke?
Lord Aaron, I wanted to talk to you briefly about something. No doubt you're aware of the trouble with the Danit lands and the accusations on my sister and the unfortunate combat that wound up in young Adam Danit's death. in front of the seven.
He gives you a close-lipped smirk. He goes, "Indeed, it was rather difficult to miss at the opening feast, I'm afraid."
That is, yeah. The situation is awkward enough that we've been thrust into. That said, whatever happened, small folk were apparently murdered, and those lands are in need of a caretaker. Currently, they would fall to House Wormwood, based on
Ironwood,
Ironwood.
by the way.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Ironwood, based on the recent.
I wanted to make sure it wasn't a purposeful insult. Is all.
No, it was not. I just my words mixed up.
Gotcha.
Although I'll use that later. That's good.
Right? Like I'm like, it's fair, just maybe not with this guy. But all right.
What wasn't intended, but yeah. And well, they didn't seem to have much care over the small folk either, let alone this claim. I wonder if those lands, and I speak to you openly here, I wonder if those lands wouldn't be better back under my house's tenure.
He kind of leans on the railing in the manner of someone that has spent a lot of time leaning on this railing and talking about this sort of thing, right? Like it's very much a kind of West Wing, you are in my office wherever I go vibe that you get from John Aaron, and you can't help but remember that, you know, he has largely been running the kingdom while Robert has not.
That's why I'm talking to him.
So, you know, you definitely, you know that, yeah, you're in his place of business here. And he goes, "I see. Well, I'm sure that you understand why King Robert gave the Dannet lands to House Ironwood."
I'm aware. Our families were once in opposition. A long time ago, though.
Not so long to many. The Ironwoods and Dannets stood together and helped topple House Targaryen. Though the reasons that you would not are understandable, and here his gaze kind of flickers back into the room, even to like your uncle, the Lord of Tides from House Valerian, right? Very pointedly, there's silver hair, dotted here, and then he goes, "While those reasons were understandable, they still happened. King Robert wanted a great many more bodies from that rebellion than he may have gotten. There was talk of all the dragon seed being wiped clear of Westeros. It was all some of us could do to talk him down from it. There are days, of course, that he regrets what happened to the princess, a referral to the Princess Elia. He goes, to the princess and her children, of course. But there are days that King Robert does not regret what happened to the princess and her children. What was done to the Lady Lyanna, more have died for less. And House Baratheon is not known for their forgiving nature, whether 2 decades have passed or not."
So I don't suppose I should mention nor are we, but that's not really relevant at this point. I bring this up not as a personal issue, but rather an issue of concern, not only the small folk there, but just in general. And I'll be frank with you, Miss Lord Aaron. Somebody wanted that duel. Somebody wanted my sister to kill Dannet. I don't know who it was, but whoever it is expects to grab those lands. It would be another injustice to allow them to have it.
Indeed, but now here you are with your house the winner of that duel and asking for those lands. You can see how that could be seen as an injustice as well.
I do. Now, the 7 found my sister innocent, but not all are as pious as we would like.
Indeed, some are quite a bit more practical. And
but that is why I come to you.
And some noticed that young Lord Adam did not look well before or during the duel.
No, he didn't, did he? I wish he had talked to me beforehand. I tried to. That's in the past now. Well, I figured I would let you know my desires there, and then you can think it over. And if you think it's a good fit, maybe you can push to the king's ear on those better days of his.
The request has been duly noted.
Very well. I won't take up any more of your time then, Lord Aaron. I do see my uncle's arrived. I'd like to go speak to him.
He kind of holds you up for a moment, like before you can go. He goes, Deed, what news he has received this week from Driftmark has not been good. It would seem your cousin continues to struggle. Send him my regards when you speak with him.
This is sad news. I will. Thank you, Lord.
All right. So we're going to cut there. Anybody else want to go speak to Uncle Monford before the fish course arrives? Like, or did we want to wait? I'm leaving it up to you all.
No, we should all go speak to our uncle.
Okay. Yeah. And the three of you are sitting close enough together that you can quite pointedly travel as a group, which is also quite appropriate. So by default,
just because saying that, like, excuse me, my uncle has just arrived. I should go and greet him, sort of thing.
Right, and that's
just to get myself out there.
Yeah, that is social nicety aplenty to quickly disentangle and go speak. By default here, we're going to go with Reyna. Anytime that it's siblings going stuff together, we will default to the highest status score. So, Lady Reyna, your uncle has taken a seat on the tables opposite the Vale contingent, because there's a bit more room there. But he has sat himself down at kind of the head of that table. So he's opposite Sir Garland and not far. He is also of a generation with Sir Bonifer the Good from the Stormlands, who's not terribly far away. So yeah, we'll say it's Sir Garland and Sir Bonifer that are talking and greeting Lord Montford as he has a seat. And he waves away his salad. Like a servant is not sure whether to take it, and he's just, nah, no salad. Push to talk.
Sorry, I forgot. We will. I've been playing Overwatch without push to talk, so I'm kind of spoiled.
I find when I'm playing Overwatch, my hands on the control key for no reason.
But so we will go across and towards him, like make eye contact, catch his eye, so he knows we're coming. He sees us.
And most of you have the twins have met him once during one of your like 2 visits to Sunspear, like because he is the Lord of Tides, and sometimes he still just goes sailing. But like you met him like once during one of those visits. Adam, you know him by reputation only.
I haven't met my own parents.
Yeah, well, but and so yeah, you all kind of know of each other more than you really like know each other, but that's also not at all uncommon in Westeros, the way this society works. So his greeting to you is comparatively warm. For a nigh stranger, hey, your mother was his sister, and he knows of familial obligations, etc., etc. So for someone that you have barely met, he rises to greet you, and perhaps forces a smile, but smiles all the same. And he kind of pauses, like he's not sure if he should offer a hand or a hug, and then just comments, "You lot have grown since last I saw you."
I will take his hand and like tuck my arm through his, and kind of do that lean hug thing. Uncle, it is a wonderful and rare pleasure to see you here. Uh, myself and Bela, it has been years since we have seen you. And this is Adam, our youngest brother.
My lord uncle.
Pleasure
Pleasure
just for
to
the
meet you.
record, yeah. Sir Garland and Sir Bonifer did rise as the ladies approached the table, and then they're seating themselves and kind of pointedly talking about the joust and not interrupting the family stuff, but they did go through the motions. But yeah, Lord Montfort bows very politely to Adam in return. He says, nephew, it's good to meet you at long last. I heard you sailed past Driftmark on your way to and from White Harbor. I was sorry we were not able to meet even in passing as you begin your journey towards manhood.
Oh, that's quite all right. I'm sure there are many calls upon your time.
Indeed, even during celebrations of life such as this with the Princess Marcella's name day tourney and festivities. I'm afraid that much of my concern has been at home in Driftmark. We had hoped to share his symptoms with the Maester's Conclave and cast a wider fishing net, as it were, to see if perhaps some of the wisdom of other Maesters might help where ours has not been able to, but I'm afraid the news has been sparse and not good.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That is a tragedy.
Young Monteris fights still, but we had hoped to muster him some reinforcements, as it were. Unfortunately, I trust you'll all understand he was not able to make it to the tourney, but I'm pleased I can regale him with tales of his cousin's victories upon my return.
Of course, and please take to him our best wishes and blessings, and hope that he will grow strong.
Of course.
Our other brother is here. Lucaris has stepped outside, I believe, to speak to the hand.
Lucaris just happens to be approaching right then.
The timing should have worked out just fine. Oh, but here he is.
Uncle.
Luke? Newly spurred, I hear. Sorry I couldn't make it for that ceremony.
No apologies needed. I've heard the dire news. I hope, well, my thoughts are with you and your young son.
They are appreciated. I will send my cousin your concern.
Is Barristan Selby still here?
Yes, Sir Barristan had a seat up at the royal table. He is chatting amiably with John Aaron as he returns.
Okay, as long as he's not on this exact table, I was going to talk to him, but that's fine.
Well, Uncle, I don't want to interfere too much with your evening. But if there is anything that we can do for you, please let us know. Please reach out.
Indeed, it is appreciated, and of course, your grandfather has shared similar offers. But alas, if our own maesters are of little help with the boy's constitution, I'm not sure what can be done from Dorne or even from Driftmark. But yes, your concern is appreciated, and I'm sure that the Seven will listen to our prayers eventually.
I pat his hand on my arm.
Yeah, Luke puts a hand on his uncle's shoulder and kind of nods quietly.
I mean, if you believe that the warmth and the dry air of Wyvern's Rest would aid your son, we would of course, open our doors and our hearts to you and your family should you wish to visit.
Indeed, indeed. I may take you up on it. Though I may be remiss in not visiting Sunspear again, but if the lot of you are just there at Wyvern's Rest, I'm sure that a visit may be of some help. We will see. We will see.
Of course. And give him a kiss on the cheek and step away. That way, if anybody else wants to monopolize his time in our little pod, that's fine.
I hope you'll find some pride in how well our family's on the list, at least, Uncle.
Indeed, indeed. Though I was not in my best form, out of character, he did lose in the first pass, you may recall, but he's also Lord of Tides, not Lord of Saddles. So he was just kind of there going through the motions. Velaryons aren't particularly renowned jousters. That's not what they're for. But he goes, yes, indeed. I'm glad that the lot of you did better than I did. A Kingsguard knight. He gives Bela a proud smile. And I hear your bastard caught one as well.
Indeed.
They can't all be. They can't all be Selmy.
Indeed. Indeed. But yes, you have done Lena proud. Do not doubt. She smiles down on you with the mother's approving gaze, I'm certain.
Adam feels like a little twinge in his heart.
But enough speaking of the ill and the dead. I hear I made it just in time for the fish course. So go on, let's all have our seats and see what Robert's kitchens have prepared for us. And he just kind of gestures airily to the room in general, because remember that there are pointedly, plenty of empty chairs.
A lot of us had found a nice little seat over here with some Vale women, if you don't mind, Uncle.
He gives you a knowing look and goes, well, there aren't many that are prettier than Sir Garland, but it seems you found one. I bear you no ill will.
Going back for another pass, are you, Luke?
I was only away on business.
I'll walk back with Adam. Kind of be like, I saw you speaking with Lord Baelish.
Yes. Very interesting. And I'm rather pleased that he thought me worth talking to. I was just asking him questions about, well, with me, with Grandpa Maker having put me in charge of running our finances while we were here, I thought the Master of Coin might be someone it would be profitable to consult on how to manage house funds well.
I think that is an excellent idea, and it seemed to be going very well.
Thank you, sister. I think I made a good impression.
Excellent. Do you want to return to them, or do you want to come stay with the ladies and Luke?
Is that a request for me to join you?
It's an offer.
Well,
Not
Luke,
a. I mean,
well, Luke was gesturing to me earlier that he wanted me to join in, so I probably should, or he'll think I'm avoiding him.
all right.
But
Then.
I'm totally
Well, then
not.
come sit, have some fish.
So sounds like for the fish course, we've got Luke, Reyna, and Adam all going back to the little Vale contingent. What about Bela?
Yeah, I think I will join for this course.
Okay.
And then see what my options offer.
Yeah, same.
All
Like,
right.
come back. We'll all meet up,
Yeah,
and
with
then
the
we'll see.
uncle.
Where we go.
Yeah.
All right.
I was trying to invite him along with us. I don't know if that was clear.
He did, but he just kind of wished
We're
you
all
happy
young
hunting
kids.
instead of wanting to hang out and talk about his sickly son, he's like, "You young people go have fun." And also, Sir Bonifer Hasty, Sir Bonifer the Good, is one of the few people in the room that is kind of an age with Lord Montfort, so he seems to content to just kind of hang out over there.
He went to the old guy table.
Well, it's the old guy table because there's one old guy there, along with like Sir Garland the Darlin, and it's just, yeah, it's where he ended up. So all right then, all of House Nymaryen will be over there as trays of the clay-baked trout in a parsley caper vinegar sauce.
By the way, Rusty, get back down. I said right next to Miranda Royce, enough that our legs are pressed against each other.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Nice.
I assumed the next two part, but the increased physical intimacy is duly noted on my flowchart.
I'm not.
Let me get my Excel spreadsheet out.
I've got
Just mean it does flow charts.
I've got a hit location of mildly erogenous zones going for the dinner table here. You're doing great.
hit
But yeah.
location.
So yeah, it's
I missed a trick not doing any footsie.
yeah, you didn't do enough, but it's got so clay baked trout and a vinegary sauce, and then around each dish is a small thing of small kind of buttered rolls, almost but not quite dumpling'ified by being a part of the last of the cooking process. So you've got the rolls for like the sauce if you want the extra.
So many carbs.
So yeah, there's the fish course, and it sounded like everybody was back over there with the Vale contingent. So chat, give me 2 numbers, and we'll see what pops up. In addition to the Vale ladies, of course, politely greeting the lot of you as you return. Maya and the lady Miranda make a big deal of being introduced to Adam, who they have not seen so far tonight very much.
I will gallantly kiss their hands.
Look at you being all
Adam the Archer.
bold,
Feeling his
And-
oats.
risking cooties. So yeah, he's, they Miranda bats her eyelashes.
Try not
Maya
hitting
looks a little
too many
uncomfortable
bullseyes
about it.
tonight, Adam.
What?
Try not hitting too many bullseyes tonight, Adam.
Sorry, I did not make that out.
So as Adam kisses their hands, Luke will say, "Try not hitting too many bullseyes tonight, Adam."
Oh.
Adam the Archer.
Yes, I get it now. Yep. I'm just being polite.
Don't fluster him. He's doing so well.
No,
And
don't worry,
quite
Luke,
charmingly so.
I am no threat to you, Luke.
Miranda
Adam takes everything so defensively.
Miranda very pointedly says, "I wouldn't be so sure, Luke," and gives Adam a smile
Nervous.
and bats her eyelashes and defends his gallantry.
You are too kind, my lady.
Why, Lady Royce, I believe you are a troublemaker.
Sir Lucaris, I believe I've heard the same about you.
Ha! Ha!
All lies and slander, of course, unless it was good.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get it?
So,
Like, Adam has several more drinks in by now, so he is probably quite squiffy.
so yeah, well, like he did, kiss hands and stuff. So we assumed it wasn't from a surplus of sobriety.
That is how you get
so
cooties.
yeah.
It's a good point.
Like he was at the most cootie-free table prior to all this, but he's deep in the danger zone at this point.
Danger zone!
Danger zone. So, with our 21, you actually hear a little bit of a fuss as people are beginning to kind of pick at their fish. Maya is once again like waiting to see how Miranda eats it, and it's like, okay, dainty, pick it off the bone with the fork, What do we do with the skin? Oh God, the skin. Okay, good. It's crispy. Yay. You know, like she's kind of waiting. Miranda is taking point. Miranda eats with excellent manners, but she clearly, like King Robert Baratheon, she enjoys eating and drinking and that sort of thing. So she is not dainty little lady bites just to go through the motions of eating the food. Like she's like, she's enjoying herself. But with the 21, we actually have a little bit of hubbub over at the Lugas tables. As you hear,
Rusty, real quick.
Yep.
Was I able to wear my small sword into this place?
Yes, small sword, yes.
Okay.
Spear and the like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, like sidearm level weapons, yes.
Okay.
Things that you wear instead of carry tend to be okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Like worried about the fish being undercooked or what?
You never know.
All right. So it's just a small hubbub over in the Lugas table. It's the Lady Marita Lugas is getting a little bit loud, almost always with berating Sir Langley Woods, her betrothed. She's just kind of like, can we talk about anything else? Oh, or what if you just tried not talking for a bit before you spoil the fish? And she's just getting enough wine in her, and it looks like she started on the Taroshi brandy a bit ago, that she's been drinking it like wine. So she's just kind of been getting louder. And eventually Orton just kind of claps his tankard on the table. And this is what kind of draws everyone's eye, as he just goes, enough, Marita. As the seat is now available, as Norton is regaling King Robert with no doubt fanciful tales of bedroom conquests, why don't you take Nathan's seat, and I will speak with your betrothed while we continue to discuss the details of your marriage. Move, sister. And he's just stepping in and shoving her a seat or two down and separating them. So it's kind of hard to miss. Nobody's throwing hands or anything, but he got to the point where he was tired of his sister getting louder and louder and potentially embarrassing them. So he nipped it in the bud. It's not any worse than the Lady Olenna stabbing the Grand Maester or anything. So not quite a breach of etiquette. But it was, enough to kind of draw everyone's attention. So yeah, it definitely looks like Orton is stepping up as the brother to his sister in Nathan's absence. So that's kind of the big drama around the 21 is Marita's increased volume as she gets more and more in her cups. She just turns the dial up a little more.
That was the little bookish Lucas who got onto her, right?
Yes, that was Orton, who's also the one that arranged the marriage. He has arranged all her marriages. So he might also just be kind of protecting. Yeah. Yes, he is the bookish one. Though he did cut the Fox Knight's head in half. Right, he's the one that got that kill shot. He's been,
Right.
So you notice as the Lady Marita stands up to take that seat, she instead hip-swingingly sachets towards the royal table. So we're just going to kind of move her chess piece up there and pick up from there in future courses and stuff. But yeah, she is still doing she's wearing black to be grieving, and because black is also one of the family colors. But as has been the case with her throughout the feast, she's wearing stuff that's a little tight around the hips and a little tight and open around the breasts. So she's not exactly in a, some baggy, humble type of grieving widow gown. she's just going like, whatever, black is one of my colors, right? And she is very pointedly, and she's, remember that their mother is of Clegane stock. She's kin to to the Cleganes, and they've got the big beefy builds, and that goes to her curve also, especially compared to like the Dornish builds that the Rhoynar that you got are a little bit more used to. She's a big curvaceous gal, kind of Miranda Royce's curves on Maya Stone's body, right? Because that's Marita. She's tall and curvy build, so she is definitely flaunting that on her way up to the royal table, where she kind of does what her. So she goes through the motions of doing what her brother said, but very pointedly doesn't do exactly what her brother said. So that's kind of what's going on there. With the 19, you just noticed Sir Bonifer Hasty, who again is mid-50s. He's of an age of your Uncle Montford. And he is speaking with your Uncle Montford in his kind of usual sour-faced way. Sir Bonifer is called the Good because of his piety and his kind of vocal piety. He's one of those kind of unpleasantly into the seven types. And remember, the church isn't back in military power. We don't have sparrows rousting through the streets or whatever.
Faith militant or anything.
Yeah, right. That's not a thing. But he's still one of those guys that's very vocal about his faith and about the propriety of the faith. He's drinking only wine and only watered down and only in moderation, and that sort of thing. And he also has a complicated history with those of Valyrian blood. You recall in passing, he was once infatuated with the Lady Rhaela Targaryen, who would become Aerys's sister wife, and of course, mother to Prince Rhaegar, etc., 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 the mother-in-law to your kin, Elia Martell, on both sides, But yeah, apparently in their youth, he was quite infatuated with the Lady Rhaela, and she may have returned it, and then he swore off jousting as a result of the fallout of all that. So somebody goaded him back into the joust here at Princess Myrcella's name day tourney, and then he seems to have sworn it off again after eventually losing. But he is speaking with Lord Montford the way men of a generation do, right? Like, you get the feeling he's not actually preaching at Lord Montford. Lord Montford isn't just going through the motions of speaking about his son or other social niceties. You get the feeling that they have some history. Sir Garland, for his part, has politely kind of joined a different conversation to leave those two alone to their old men talking in a way that, just folks with a couple decades more history than other folks have. So it's nothing loud, it's nothing unpleasant, but you get the feeling it's kind of old guys that disagreed in their youth and have just seen a lot of shit together, and now it's kind of mellowed out to just like, hey, I'd rather talk to you than some kid, that kind of vibe, So they look to be, kind of just companionable older folks hanging out. So nothing you can really hear from your side of the room, but Sir Bonifer seems to be a little more pleasant than normal, and Lord Montford just might be a little more sincere than normal, as kind of the standoffish old Valyrian blood. He's often a little aloof, and seems like the two of them are maybe kind of good for each other. So that conversation's going on with our 19 over there.
Well, good for them getting the old guy. I don't even know what to say. They're just being boring over there.
Yeah, they probably are. But this is, it's still kind of noteworthy, and it was, the level of the level of fan interactivity as a prompt for drama is
I
sometimes going to
know.
vary with the random numbers. So,
That's fine.
um,
Just saying.
any other particular plans for the fish course?
I would mention to the rest of the siblings that I am genuinely concerned about our young cousin and his survival.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does
it's a
sound
shame that
dire, doesn't it?
well,
it-
if all the assembled maesters of the conclave can't help him, then I'm not sure anyone can.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like new news to the lot of you. It's just like this is all you've ever heard about your young cousin, is that he has not been well.
He's poorly. He's not well.
just-
He
not
doesn't
flourishing.
still breastfeed though, right?
Not that you have heard of.
That he's
No.
got one up over some kids.
See, what you need to do is get him some of that flea bottom. Get him some of the good stuff. He'll gain a couple feet and 100 pounds overnight.
I
Get
suspect
Bessa
that will
over there.
turn most young boys into whatever they end up being.
I think we need to pay for Bessa to go over there and sort him out. She'll get him fed up right.
So it doesn't sound like it's a
Not
particularly
like that, look, Jesus.
new. It's not particularly.
Use another half a foot.
Oh,
So it doesn't sound like it's new dire news. It's just not a solution, right? Like you'd hoped,
they were
hey,
hoping
maybe,
for an answer, and they didn't get the one they wanted.
So
Yeah.
they're like, just some kids don't do well. It happens. So yeah. So again, it's not like a
Luke
new
very
crisis
specifically does not
type of
bring
thing,
up
yeah.
like being next in line to the seat.
yes. And with your sincere expression of grief and concern, the lady Miranda puts her hand back on your arm, like it's so gallant of you to say you give a half-ass care about your sickly cousin. Like you're so brave, right? It's just, but
I
it's
am
an
pretty
excuse
brave.
to.
He's
Yeah,
It's
that
an
is
excuse
true.
to. You are the real victim here. Yeah, it's an excuse to pat your arm a bit, and so she does so.
I think it's more that there are very few left of our bloodlines, and the loss of even one branch off this tree should be mourned
There
if it
is-
happens.
Yeah, there is another Valerian bouncing around, but he is a bastard.
Really?
I'm
Where's he?
adding to my list to befriend.
Sorry, what was the question?
Who is he?
He is Orain Waters.
Oh, Rain.
Aurane. He is the bastard of Driftmark. He is your uncle's half brother, so he's also your uncle. But yeah, he is a good bit younger. He is mid-late 20s ish instead. So, but yeah, he is around. He's probably on Driftmark or on patrol right now. He essentially serves as kind of a retainer of House Valerian. Kind of, the way the bastard brother of the Lord might be like a master at arms type of thing. He is only, again, their military stuff is all fleet-ish. So he's just, he rides on their, fleet patrols, yada, 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 yada. He is not here this week. He is a very good-looking fellow from all that you have heard. He's got those Valerian features, and a few have, you've probably heard the ladies comment on it here and there.
Alrighty then. Sorry, I didn't know about him.
No problem. We haven't really been doing a lot of Valerian stuff which was part of why, out of character, I added him to the guest list tonight, just to remind you guys he is here. He has had his reasons to not be pursuing company this week, so you guys haven't interacted with him very much. So I thought I'd kind of force the issue and remind everyone that you have close kin on Driftmark. So it's fine.
With a hand essentially on his sword, in reality on Royce's thigh, Luke will kind of nod along, and he's kind of spoken when he needs to speak right now. So,
oh man,
you know, I joined up with the group because earlier Luke had been like, "Come and talk to me, bro," and now he's off. Now he's just found some girl who doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Luke is a little distracted. That is true.
No, that's totally out of character. That's totally fine. But Adam's going to be like, until the conversation does happen, Adam's going to be like, what did he want to talk to me about? Did he want to bother me about girls again? Because, or did he actually want to talk about something that I can not be frightened of?
I think he just wanted to get you out of the clutches of that man.
Oh, he's that man now. Oh, goodness me.
That man.
That man.
Corbray.
Does anybody want to bring up Corbray or anything during the fish course? Or are we politely ignoring it because he's still within move and attack distance on a combat map?
I guess I will say, not about that, but I will say to Arayda, I'll look at her and say, I did bring up with the Hand of the King the issue of the inheritance that Dana lands.
Oh,
I made sure our claim was known.
What did he say?
What's that last thing?
I made sure our claim was known.
What?
All right.
Are you saying
Have
this to
some
all of
more
us?
wine.
Robert, are you saying this to all of us?
Yeah. To Raina specifically, but you're all there.
The Waters chick, the Stone chick, whatever.
Luke didn't need to hide the fact that our family would like the land back and has a claim to it. So,
battery low.
Well, I mean, hopefully, that won't make us look too culpable in that particular situation. But I think I might be able to help actually with that because
that's clearly. Go ahead.
I had planned to actually ask the maesters about that, about whether there was precedent for land being, whether we could, similarly to what you've proposed, claim control of the lands back, however, more as regent, because the actual heir to the house that is left now is missing. There is Adam Dannett's sister is missing and was not found. We could make a case that we want to find out what happened there anyway. We could also look for her, and it might be easier for us to make those investigations if we have if we can move around freely in that land.
That sounds wonderful.
That's a fair point. I did bring the fact that we were considered the small folk there. Clearly, someone killed them. And
but all
in
of
front
this
of the seven,
talk
we
is
are
probably
innocent
very boring to Miranda and Maya.
We shouldn't be talking politics when this is a party.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, I suspect these two find a little more interesting than nothing at all.
Well, we don't have to say nothing. It's not a choice between nothing or, house matters.
Well, I have said what I intended to say. I have made it known to the Hand of the King we'd be interested and that we have good reason to. Obviously, all the concerns are concerns he has as well. We'll see what happens. If anybody else wishes to push it further, I do suggest they do so.
Right. Yeah, there's things I can look into some things.
A quick meta note: Maya Stone has been trying her best to politely listen in, because she'd been told you're supposed to make eye contact and listen when people talk to you and stuff. Miranda has been pointedly not. She's suddenly like, motherfucking fish. And she's been, just kind of took on a cooler expression of oh, they're talking business. I will make a point of not hearing it, yada, yada, yada. Nobody's commenting either way. But highborn ladies not from Dorne learn very quickly how to stop hearing things, when talk turns to manly matters of running a kingdom and stuff. So she doesn't respond or seem.
I want to make sure Luke
nonplussed
has
or
the
whatever.
expression on him that tells to the girls that, okay, you're playing along. I get it. Way to go.
All right.
I drink a whole goblet of wine.
That's it. Drown your disappointment in your brother. Drink it down. Ball it up in your stomach. Hold it there.
That's not. I mean, that's the whole point of emotions. They're like a fine port. You're supposed to bottle them up for 20 years, then give them to your godson on his 18th birthday.
All right. You two aren't coming to Driftmark on my name day. That's all I'm saying.
What? With that, I'm gonna get up and grab my goblet and say, I'm gonna go
That was
thank
clearly,
the king
that
for
was-
this fine dinner.
That was out of character. That
Oh.
was sarcasm.
Is Bela still wanting to shift up to the royal table
Yes.
for the main course? All right. So everyone else is still with the Vale contingent. Oh, what's up with Adam?
If we're moving on to the next course, I was going to go over to Orton.
Okay, so we will pair up with various Lugasai, because Nathan and the Lady Marita are now up at the royal table. Nathan is
Right.
chatting with King Robert. Marita sashayed up there. And then we've got Adam heading to the other Lugas to go hang out with Orton. The main course, meanwhile, chat, go ahead and give me... Let's make it 3 more numbers out of chat. Chat, give me 3. The main course is brought out, and it is a bevy of geese. They are geese, or rather, the dish is goose stuffed with pigeon, and then a mixture of breadcrumb, mulberries, and pecans. So it's this kind of spiced stuffing mixture with inside a pigeon and then outside a pigeon, inside a goose. So it's like a stuffing
It's a kind of
birdception
turducken.
type of thing. Yeah, but it's a pigoosen. So that is the first main
Pigoosen.
course is pigeon goosen with mulberries, pecans, and a breadcrumb mixture. All right, so we've got a 3, 8, and a 5. Okay. And then what we're actually we're gonna nix the 5 from Ira, because we've already spent a little more time with Peter Baelish than we had planned. So we're going to nix the 5 and swap in Locks 23. But Ira Hexa, I know I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. Make sure you remember to pick first next time I call for numbers. So we're going to go 3, 8, 23 for this batch, because I am also trying to spread things around also to where the players are, so that we'll do that. Hopefully that works. So we've got 3, 8, 23. Give me one. And then because Luke and Reyna both had to go randomly AFK, we are going to cut to the 23, because that is Sir Langley Woods, who is over there seated right next to Orton Lugas. So we're going to cut over to Ash/Adam, because that's where one of our little random numbers was. So it's Langley Woods just trying to companionably unload on Orton Lugas in like, I don't know what to do to make her happy, and you arranged the marriage, and it seems like I'm not enough for her, and if she's this bad when we're just engaged, I don't know what to do. And I bought fancy metal armor like a proper knight, and it's not working, and I'm trying to act like one of you southern lords, and that's not working, and I served her all the wine she asked for and then the brandy that she wanted, but she only got worse and worse. It's that sort of just kind of commiserating.
Oh man, like
while Orton is just kind of coolly like, yeah, you did. This is never gonna work out. Sorry, I ruined your life, but whatever, man. Like, you guys signed the contracts, so you're gonna marry her. Suck it up. Like, he's kind of short on like empathy. Like, he's not being a dick about it, but it's just like, yes, I know. I'm sorry, especially when she's in her cups. She can be quite a handful. Some men rather appreciate that, though. Like, he's trying to kind of like, like bitches. What you gonna do, bro? Yeah. So that is the scene as you approach the open seats over there with Orton. So that's your cue, Adam. What do we got?
Everything all right? I mean, everything's clearly not all right, but this is the polite way to come in, I guess.
Sir Langley takes in a breath like he's about to start over, and Orton cuts him off with his higher status roll for like an intrigue initiative. He rolls the dice and gets him. He goes, yes, no, everything's fine. This Taroshi brandy just got into my sister's head a bit quicker than any of us suspected. So she's just been a little untoward this evening, that's all.
I see. Well, do you mind if I join you?
Oh, not at all, not at all. And
poor guy.
He turns and kind of shoves open, the chair next to him, and gestures for you to sit in between the two of them. Like, okay. He slides back over to his chair, and is now offering you maritas between he and Langley.
I kind of feel like he's going like,
have a
you're
seat.
Stuck with him now.
How are things on the eastern side of the room? Or whichever direction it would be,
Busy.
Just
quite busy. Yes, I think I've sort of had more conversations with important people than I have in my entire life.
Indeed, it would seem the Master of Coin had an enthralling conversation, given how long you sat at that particular table.
Well, yes, the company there was very pleasant. I wanted to really just sort of learn from him, I guess. There's, I'm sort of expected to be the clever one in the family, so I might as well talk to clever people and learn how they clever.
Indeed, a similar struggle I find myself facing in the Stormlands at large, I'm afraid.
I knew you
It looked as though you didn't find only clever people to talk with.
No, I spoke a little bit with Sir Lane Corbray and Michael Redfort. Though they're not the sparkling conversationalists that Lord Baelish is.
Well, you seem to have had a productive evening then. And I saw your Lord Uncle arrive. It sounds as though the news may not have been good.
Unfortunately not, no. It was good to meet him for the first time, though I wish it were in better circumstances.
Indeed. Well, by all means, let's dig in on the goose here, as it is soundly well cooked. Come, Langley, have you had this before? And he kind of tries to include old Gangly Langley into it, who is like, I've had goose, but what's all this stuff? And is like, whoa! He's like, oh shit, there's a pigeon in here, and you know.
Yeah. Adam's like into food and stuff, so we'll kind of talk him through it and why these things go nicely together and stuff. But if at all possible, kind of surreptitiously, by which I mean like if I can kind of do this in a way that Orton's not gonna like automatically notice I'm doing it, of like I don't know, maybe kind of like try and kind of console Langley a little bit.
Just like going for the rebound, gonna seduce him away from Marita and stuff. Is that what you're?
I mean, who can deal with women after all? But there was another option.
No, that's not what I'm doing.
I'm just teasing you.
I know you are.
Because you hadn't blushed enough this session compared to last. I had to get that red going.
I know, like we've set the bar really quite high.
We got to give the people what they want.
Sir Langley, let her have a bit of space. I'm sure she'll calm down. But if she does not, almost all contracts have loopholes. I'm sure one could be found if you felt that things would, if you require extracting.
Oh no! I love her, and she will grow to love me in time. That's how these marriages work.
Oh Lord.
He sounds desperately upbeat.
Oh, you sweet summer child. Well, I certainly hope so. I certainly like to believe that love prevails.
It will with us. I just need to give her what she wants, enough that she knows I mean it.
Well, I mean, have you also tried? I mean, I'm going to say right now, I am absolutely no expert. This is purely from observation. That, well, sometimes if you just automatically give someone everything they want, they might take it for granted.
I've never thought that. No.
I mean, perhaps.
I just killed Robert. Okay, I legitimately thought he was gonna fall for a second there.
Are you okay?
All right, Robert's good.
Yeah.
No.
But like, I mean, you're clearly a gallant and earnest knight. That
he blushes adorably.
Yep.
No reactions here.
That's as you say, well, not as you say. Sorry. You know, there are many young ladies that find that very desirable, and well, maybe if you're sort of more, if you take a more relaxed posture and aren't sort of chasing after her heels all the time, she might, you know, if well, think about this, like when I was at White Harbour, I was around the same handful of squires all the time, and sometimes that made things quite fractious because, well, we kind of got sick of the sight of each other sometimes. So sometimes getting a bit of space away from someone will make you appreciate their presence more, and I think maybe that would work for her possibly.
He gives you it's not a suspicious look, but it's that like, no, I don't think that'll work type of, like a skeptical look. It's like, no, I don't know. Well, in time, my lovely Lady Lugus she'll chase me back. She'll see. Once I bring her home and she sees the splendor of the North, which you've seen, she'll appreciate it, and all will be well, I'm sure. and the wedding will be magnificent, and she'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Wow.
Well,
He'll get a lot of sleep on the wedding night.
Yeah. Well, certainly the colder temperatures will give her more excuse to get close to you.
He snorts and blushes.
There, so I've kind of done my job of I've sort of cheered him up a bit. He's maybe not going to be kind of morose and moaning about it now. And I have at least laid it on the table that there's ways out exist if he regrets his decision.
Adam did his good deed for the day.
I would have given so much to be there.
Just Adam trying to help a row the hetero. He's fine. He's doing his help.
He can help everyone except himself.
That's how it tends to go. We're gonna jump cut. We're gonna jump cut straight from Langley saying that someday his lovely Lady Lugus will love him back. We're gonna jump cut straight to the king's table with this 3, which is technically the hand of the king, Lord John Arryn of the Vale, but instead we're just gonna make it the king's table in general because we kind of just got done with John Arryn, and right now his lovely Lady Lugus is bending over the table facing the king to go, "Ooh, I've never seen a goose so big," while just showing off them titties though, right all up in Bobby B's face. That's the immediate camera cut from Langley Woods pining away for his betrothed. It's straight to her, just like showing off the boobs to King Robert, right there at the royal table, cooing over the fancy food and that's on offer, and showing off what she has on offer right there with her fiance in the room.
Wow.
Nathan notices and just laughs about it, and he gives Robert this elbow in the ribs because he's over on Robert's side of the table. They're just kind of broing it up, and they've been drinking and eating and like
they're
talking
2 peas
about
in the same pod.
Yeah, and like here's his sister just like, "Hey King, look at my boobs," and Nathan's like, "Ha ha ha, ha, look at her boobs." Right,
Oh,
like
you look at her boobs.
Right, like it's that sort of thing.
I'm grossed out.
Yeah, so that's what's going on up there with the pair of Lucases hanging out with King Robert. Stannis Baratheon is pointedly not taking part in enjoying the view because A, he does not believe in enjoying views. Views are to
just in general.
Yeah, that's not what those are for. You're not supposed to like.
If it isn't a strategic view, he's not interested.
Yeah, it's not what your eyes are for, but also not, enjoying the look of anyone. He is a married man. Cover yourself, hussy. Why is your brother not covering you? What is even happening right now? Oh, the debauchery of King's Landing. How dare people enjoy themselves in my presence? Right, like that. Stannis just fucking focused. Serious.
Not for me.
Yeah. He's not here to have a good time, and by here I mean in this life. So that's going on. We got that going on with our 3, and Bela is in that general vicinity now. I remember Bela was approaching someone in particular up there. Exactly which one was it?
King Robert.
Oh, I forgot. She's just going right for the fucking top of the food chain here. So that's what you walk up on.
So how armored are the King's Guard right now is the question I have to ask.
She hasn't got her spear, and they're way on the other side of the room anyway. So yeah, that's what you walk up on with King Robert. Is
so much about this I don't like.
The widow, Lady Marita, is showing off the goods, and talking about how big his goose is.
And very
and that's when-
specifically, Luke stops like the physical attention towards Miranda and is just kind of out of the side of his eye glaring at them.
So what's Bela up to as she approaches?
I'll try to cut in on that goose euphemism, but try to spin it a little bit more towards a topic that might interest me. And I'll say, yeah, that goose is big, but you know what else is going to be big? That melee tomorrow. Then I'll hold up my hold up my
The
goblet
big,
of
frothy
drinks.
melee.
And say I'm looking forward to doing some more fighting tomorrow. Cheers for the melee.
And King Robert has like a goose leg the way normal people hold like a chicken leg, and you swear he cleaned that fucking bone in like one bite, just like, and then he tosses casts the bone carelessly behind him for somebody else to pick up, and with his mouth still like half full, he's like, oh, and he finishes gulping it out. Aha, yeah, 49 of ya. Oh, if it wasn't for this whole tradition of the 7, I've half a mind to armor up and join you myself.
That would be quite the honor.
Or I could just order one of these other twats to stand down and take a spot.
I don't think
That would
like
certainly
this.
be a great time.
No. We
would.
see him with
It
a
would.
hammer in his hand.
We could get one of the
Be fine.
we could get one of the Florents up here and have him alter the lists. One of the Royce boys got hurt. He might not want in. Or, I don't think it's in Garland or Royce to step down and save themselves for the finals like some maiden saving herself for her wedding night. But we can make someone quit and find room.
I have no doubt, Your Grace.
Well, you are the king.
He gives you an appraising look, and kind of like Marita Lugas also an appraising look, just because being opposite them, assuming you're staying on that side of the table,
Yeah.
like you're kind of side by side, but he goes, there's some heads I'd like to pound.
Oh my god.
So he's a subtle creature, our Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
Bobby B.
Bobby B.
Luke's left hand is actually on his sword now, just so everyone knows. As he continues to drink his ale.
Oh, so the hands on the sword for her, but not for me. Great. That's fine. That's okay. I'm not complaining.
Seriously, I'm like watching from my table.
Your siblings are all crazy.
And
I know.
he chuckles to himself and goes, I could join Thoros's team.
Oh no.
They could get that Frey boy off of it. I don't think they'd mind making him quit. Yes.
It's been a great opportunity for our family to come up here and participate in the jousts and all the competitions.
You actually see his features darken for a moment, as though he kind of remembers who he's talking to. For the first time, he goes, "Yes, it took you a lot of your time to get up here, didn't it? I almost forgot who Lucaris was. Him just shadowing Aaron all this time. Why did you lot need such a powerful invitation anyway? What's your grandfather been up to down there?"
I'm afraid he might have thought we needed extra time to make the right impression.
Well,
Out of character.
he
it's a good fucking
certainly-
question.
he certainly wasn't just waiting for the fruit to ripen. You two are well past marrying age. Why'd he keep you away from the capital for so long?
He's never shared that. It's been a mystery to us as well as you.
Huh. Keeping the Dornish beauties in Dorne. That's not the way to keep 7 kingdoms acting as one. I understand he's too old to come visit himself. I don't blame him, I suppose.
To his credit, though, he has enlisted the help of Lady Olenna to assist in our marriages.
Making up for lost time by enlisting the Queen of Thorns, eh? Olenna! Olenna! Find them good ones, eh? Look at them. Fighters and fuckers. I can tell. I have a nose for it. And that was every bit raised voice hollering it as though she weren't like 6 or 8 feet away, you know.
Yeah. That's fine. I'll own that the compliment he gave.
She, for her part, Lady Olenna, sitting a few seats away, very pointedly ignores exactly what he said, and she just says, "It's not conversation for the dinner table, Robert. Your Grace." Like every bit, like she would chastise one of her grandchildren.
I love it.
Yeah.
She does not give a fuck.
And
For all
does-
the things they grow in High Garden, fucks is not one of them.
Yes,
Exactly.
the ripe fields of the Reach are not seeded with fucks to give.
Yeah, they're not known for their fucks.
So we are gonna on that note, and my assumption is also, Baylor, you sitting down to eat something, or kind of settling in up at that table?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
settle in for the remainder of this course, but then I'll excuse myself.
Sure. But that means we've got a few empty seats there at the Vale contingent where the rest of you were sitting, and we've got an 8 that somebody picked. So as most of you are eyeing the king's table with half an ear to King Robert talking to your sister, on the other side of your table, a pair of black leather pants approach, and a chair gets brazenly hauled away without anyone asking for permission, and helping himself to your hospitality, Sir Lynn Corbray has a seat, and just sits down on the other side of Maya, facing the lot of you, and lazily sprawling back in his chair. And he's looking at Reyna, because he seems to have settled on her as the eldest in your backwards Dornish way. And like you can almost see the thought bubble. Like, I'm going to talk to her instead of the brother. Maybe because she's eldest, maybe because it's a way to insult him. So this is a twofer. I'm following the letter of the rules while insulting someone.
I was wondering if maybe he'd seen her glaring at him.
But he gives Reyna that long kind of appraising look, and he goes, "Good eve. I found myself with only my squire for company, and I thought some familiar faces from the Vale might comfort my lonely, grieving heart," he says, while not at all looking at the faces from the Vale.
Well, I suppose that's as good of
Maya
a reason as any.
goes to say something.
Hold
but
on, one at a
stops
time,
and
yeah.
looks to Reyna.
Yeah, Reyna was talking.
I suppose that's as good a reason as any. You're welcome to join us.
"Thank you," he says after having already pointedly sat down, etc. "It was kind of your little brother to keep me company earlier, and I thought perhaps I'd just return the favor and shuffle down table a bit.
Did he bring Lady Forlorn?
Yes, she is back on his hip now.
She's never far from him.
I was just curious.
So, how goes the conversation here? Lady Miranda? Maya?
How do they look?
Maya has gotten very quiet and kind of tense, like a bird going, oh shit, a cat is looking at me, oh shit, right? Like not like pointed abuse victim way, just very like, uh-oh, you know, like very kind of tense and quiet. The Lady Miranda, he is still a gallant knight of the Vale, so she leans over to kind of reach past Maya and offer her hand, which he delicately just kind of takes and gives a little shake, going through the motions of you know, gallantry and politeness. And then Maya, when she returns to like lean back in her seat again, is very pointedly leaning to face Sir Lynn, but leaning back in her chair towards Lucaris. So she's maintaining proximity on Luke while politely giving her attention to Lynn Corbray.
I was sorry to hear the news of your brother. And I'll extend our condolences.
That's very kind of you to say, he says after a pointed, disbelieving half smile. I'm sure that the rest of House Corbray is just as concerned with your ailing cousin as you are concerned with the loss of my younger brother.
There is an anger on Luke's face that he's having trouble hiding.
Great. I'm not worried about Adam now.
What sort of face is he having trouble hiding? I'm curious.
Anger.
Oh, say.
Anger, disdain, violence, those emotions.
Yay.
But he's holding his tongue.
All right. You better.
And sword.
Don't do that. Trouble.
I can appreciate the similarities there. Have you found this week to be a profitable one, then?
I've done well enough for myself and have a few more wagers riding on the melee.
If I'm not mistaken, go ahead, Rusty.
I trust I'll see you there, he says with a quirked eyebrow that leaves it unclear whether he expects you to be taking part or watching from the sideline.
If I'm not mistaken, right now, House Corbray has had some difficulties with funds, but I'll be there in melee.
Some difficulty with thugs.
Funds, money, quite.
Funds. Okay, I misheard thugs. And I was like, no, that was you guys. Okay.
That was our problem. That was the dead problem, really.
Well, I will definitely be there.
That was definitely intended as a subtle insult.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't subtle. I got you. I just didn't hear you.
Well, an insult, period.
I will definitely be on the field. Who are your compatriots? Or who have you chosen to take to the field with at the melee?
Mostly Valemen. Bronze Yawn, of course, and his eldest, Andar. Sir Vardis Egan will be joining us. My squire, and then Lord Aaron's squire as well, Hugh. We're not sure, perhaps the youngest Royce boy. He may be looking to redeem himself after his mishap with your oath.
I
Mean to say.
it was my understanding that he is going to the wall to take the black after this.
Indeed, so he may want to thrash some craggy-featured, hairy half-giant as practice before he gets to the north.
Well, he probably shouldn't approach the king.
What hopes your sword play is more practicing your tongue play? Sir Corbray.
Oh, not to worry, pretty young man. I've plenty of practice with both. And his eyes slide off of you towards your younger brother across the room.
At that point, Luke looks slowly to Adam and looks back. And there's an acknowledgement there, but not a pleasant one.
Speaking of tongue play, Maya, and he just brazenly reaches towards Maya's plate and, plucks a piece of meat. Thank you. I thought I'd get a taste for myself.
You forget
What
yourself,
is her face? What is her expression?
She just kind of stammers out, of course. Sir?
If you've come
Add
over
this
here,
into my shit list. Hold on.
he's got to open that document and tap.
Tap, tap, tap.
Go ahead, Raina.
If you only came over here to attempt to intimidate ladies and bastards, mayhap you should keep moving.
Mayhaps.
Oh. I thought it was just your squire and the Riverlander. I'm sorry, Lucaris. I thought you were a full Nymaryen.
You weren't insulting him.
That time I did. I called him a bastard in case you missed it.
An insult poorly done is an insult that needs not be replied to, sir. And yet, the melee should prove quite interesting, should it not?
Oh, I'm certain that it shall. Now then, it would seem I may have worn out my warm welcome, unless I'm misreading the room. You Dornish folk and your customs are a little queer to me.
It's odd that you've worn out the welcome to such close friends as these other members of the Vale, but when one's manners are as rude as they, that happens.
So it does. Well then, here's to another clash of cultures tomorrow. Perhaps the Dornish will put up a bit more of a fight than the last time.
Luke specifically grabs one of the house wines and raises it in a mock salute. To your health, Sir Corbray.
To tomorrow's challenge, sir. Ladies. And he returns the mock salute. You get the feeling mock salutes are all he knows how to do.
Right.
He's like, sure, whatever.
That was
So yeah.
Luke's a little out of his depth here, but he's also very
saunter
cocky.
away.
that was such a good comeback. That was I wish I'd been there for this.
Does he saunter or sidle away? Without
Yes.
any further?
Yeah, he stands up, he stretches, kind of cat-like, and it's not the same sachet that Marita Lucas did, but yes, he just idly saunters back over towards his seat, which again is 10 feet away. It's not like it's real long, it's just the principle of the thing.
It's symbolic.
3 feet away, we're staring at each other.
I take my hand out from under the table and where it's clenched.
Push to talk. Push to talk.
I was holding my knife in there under the table, and I just put it down.
Well, How is that for a main course, everybody?
Tasty.
Because
Wow.
Very
That guy.
with the end of the goose stuffed with pigeon, stuffed with breadcrumbs, stuffed with mulberries and pecans, etc., we are just about at 6 o'clock. So before we move on to the cleanser and the second main and the dessert, we are going to have to call it a break for 2 long weeks, I'm afraid, because that is how linear chronology works. But I hope everybody had a good time once again joining us for the fightin' words and the flirtin' words and the goading of the highborn and all of that fun stuff that we get up to here. We will see how the feast goes. We may just wrap up the feast next session, and then we've got the melee to look forward to when several people here at the feast are going to be backing up some talk. So we're going to
Sounds
see
like
how
we got
that
some new
works out.
enemies.
Well, I mean, it's just more just sharpening existing ones. Really, it's just dusting them off.
He is not a friend. He's not a friend of Dorn.
I mean, he was
Is that
being
man an
really-
enemy of the people?
He was being plenty friendly with your baby brother. I don't know why you could take that in the wrong way.
That wasn't friendliness.
And there's still that lingering look of Luke's to Adams. Like, what's going on exactly?
So yeah,
When
There's
Adam's
lots to-
noticed that they're talking to him.
lots to talk about in a few weeks. Got some good family talks to have about just normal family shit. Like, hey, stop trying to suck off our blood enemy. You know, just normal stuff like that. Just normal everyday dinner time
I
conversations.
hope me stabbing him does not affect your personal life.
I'm
So-
not
Ah,
sorry, not sorry. Adam is a hungry bottom and he's going to get what he wants.
damn.
So on top of all that, on top of the palate cleanser, the second main course, and desserts, there will also be some dancing in 2 weeks. And we will see just who gets paired up with whom, because I know I've got a list picked out, and we will see how some things go. So I hope everybody's had a good time coming back to Westeros with us, hanging out in the Red Keep, watching some stuff escalate, watching some tension mount prior to the melee,
And
watching
if any
some
of my
tension
sisters
mount
want
prior to
to
lots of stuff.
befriend a man, I have quarters nearby if you give me enough coin.
What?
He's gonna charge you for getting to use his quarters here in the Red Keep.
No.
Well,
I kid, of course. They're free of charge.
Okay, that's good.
Just like his sisters are, because they're free women. They can do what they want. He's not
Don't be an
pimping
ass.
anybody. No, I said he's not pimping anybody out. It's a compliment. Everybody
an
having
asshole.
fun. Hopefully viewers are having fun too. And we will see you all back here in 2 weeks' time as we continue with the trials and tribulations of House Nymaryen making their way in the world today, which takes everything you got.
Oh,
Bye, everybody.
Well,
See you in 2
bye,
weeks.
guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.